What it is, card chargers. Welcome back to another edition of Cincinnati Kids Vintage Baseball Card Channel. Tonight, got a few items here to do, and immediately going to steal from the Mookie Chilson playbook and provide a cue card, literally cue up a cue card here of what is going to be going on tonight with this episode, and will help hopefully keep me on pace and ramble a lot less. So first off, a shout out to a new channel that I saw. This channel has got a couple of videos, I think 2 or 3. He's a very red-centric collector. I love his name, The Peacemaker. He's got a lot of vintage Topps cards, like a lot of late 60s, mid to late 60s sets I think he collects. And he did a VR response to Return to Collecting 600 subscription VR. And he shouted me out as one of the channels under 200 subs. So that is really nice of someone and for him to do it, just the start of his fledgling YouTube experience as a content creator. So I wish him well and hope that he will continue to put out videos in the future. So go check out his channel. I'll have his link below. So next we're going to go to an recent eBay pickup, and I am expanding my player run site. I'm going to do a player run on this player, one of my all-time favorites. And instead of doing an episode of a Fab 4 on him, once I've got the player run complete, or I may just put out what I've got at this point, some video in the future, or when the run's complete, I will have a video on Mr. Pinson. Interesting enough, you notice here, it's got that 50th anniversary buyback on it. So shout out to Shane at Shoebox Legends. Inspired me to go grab this and add this to my Vada Pinson collection player run. You also notice in the background there a wonderful 1978 Topps of Robin Yount wearing number 19. Since this is the 19th episode, I set that card out in honor of him and to kind of give this episode a little flavor. Let's move on next item to card show and LCS pickups. So card show was a weekend ago, so it was February, I think this 17th. My local card show, it's monthly, held monthly, and I got to 3 or 4, bought at 3 different tables, visited 4 in total. Got there a little late in the day, about an hour and 15 minutes to go, and people are already starting to pack up, so I kind of had to hurry up and rush. And as I show off these cards, if a channel name comes to mind, knowing the association of the team or the player or fan of this, I'm going to shout you out. So here we go. First off, Kris Bryant with this lovely Prism by Panini. So when I think of Kris Bryant and Cubs, I'm thinking of Vintage Card Steve, Basement Collector, Don't Talk to Robots. I mean, there's a ton of other Cubs guys out there, and if I haven't mentioned you, I mentioned you in spirit. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to slight you. So, and here's Jonathan India, Topps Chrome. He's kind of the guy now. He's with Votto moving on. Jonathan India is the I guess he's going to be the clubhouse leader. He just signed another 2-year deal, and I guess they could still trade him, but honestly, I hope they don't. All right, this reminds me of Dylan, Mike Trout, Prism, Panini Prism. I love the green background on this. I don't have a Trout card, so this is a first for me. Mike Trout. here is Shohei Ohtani. And I will shout out Ken at God is Great. He is indeed. And this is a Topps, I think. It is a Topps Chrome from All-Star. Whoops. And I didn't have, this is like, again, a first for me for Shohei Ohtani. I think I'm going to PC this one. Okay, then off to another table and grabbed a few cards there. It's funny how you walk into, there was a lot of boxes of vintage baseball, pretty much organized by year, mostly Topps. And you just never know what you're going to find on that day or what you're going in to look for. I didn't have any agenda. I had a couple cards in mind, but no idea I was going to go and pick this up. Harmon Killebrew 68 Topps. Yeah, he is a player I did not have yet in my PC, so great to have him. And then this reminds me of the Detroit Collector. Willie Horton, great Tigers player, part of that 68 World Series champion team. And he played on into the early 70s too. He's a really good hitter, really good player. And then the same table, found this card. So this is interesting. I had heard of this set, but didn't really know it by name. This is the 1968 Fleer World Series. And I saw this as like, you know, the cartoon Babe Ruth kind of reminds me of a Minko card of his. I don't remember the designation or what year it was. It was from when I guess when the Yankees went to play exhibition ball. Maybe it was 1930, 31 or something like that in Japan, near the end of Babe's career. And that just kind of reminds me of that. I just thought this is just really, really neat. It's a post-day playing card. So there's a post-day playing card I'm showing. But I really like this one. It's horribly miscut, but it's my first Babe Ruth card. And off to another table, I just picked up one card that I saw immediately. And on a theme, as after I picked up the 68, and I found this. Hold on, there's something on there. Maybe it's just the glare of the camera. I don't know, some dust, there we go. That's a pretty nice, well-centered Harmon Killebrew 1960 Topps to add to my Hall of Fame run of 60 Topps. So this is the first of two cards I'm going to ask the community out there to, you know, yeah, this corner's a little dinged. But what do you think? Should I send this off for grading? I'm considering it. Love to hear in the comments below if you'd like to share what you think. Thought the printing on it, there's just hardly any, no flaws on the print on it. It just presents really well. Great eye appeal on this card. Super nice. The back is really clean, as you can see here. And in a span of two tables, I had two Harmon Killebrew cards. I've been looking for one that works, this one of these that works for me in my collection for a long time. This is my favorite Harmon Killebrew card. The rookie is probably getting a little past what I want to pay for one that's in, you know, excellent, very good condition, like a 4 or even a 5 grade, number grade. So this is a good one. I like this. Still says he's playing third base and he's still with Washington and he's got a great smile there. So then off to the last table I bought some cards from, just a 3-card pickup here. And first off was a football card. So Bob Brown, great tackle, Hall of Fame tackle for the Rams. He played for, I think, maybe the Giants also. It's this 69, I think, or is it 68 Topps? I'm not as familiar with my football. But this is going to remind me of TJ Mack. he sort of gotten me into the game of, looking for vintage football cards here or there. Great channel he has. I mean, the last episode nearly made me cry from the nostalgia of it. Kind of cheered me up a little bit. He was talking about the natural. He was talking about Roy Hobbs and showing cards from the early 80s. Sort of in my wheelhouse too, and just brought back a lot of memories. So I really thank him, appreciate him for that video. And then we went on to pick up Mr. Yount, 81 tops. Always a good day to add one of the greatest shortstops of all time to collection. And this 69 tops Tommy John for the slow but sure growing of the 69 tops set I'm trying to build. That was it for the card show. On now to then what I picked up at LCS. So I went to the LCS to pick up my graded cards. And, I hadn't been through the hockey box in a while, and I thought, I'll just go and take a look at the hockey box. So there's another repeat shout out here, Shane, Shoebox Legends. I saw this card, and I know Upper Deck cut these so well and so nice. There's probably a bazillion of these out there that look this nice, but I don't know. What do you think? Should I grade it? He had a very nice graded version. Maybe it was a 10 or is a 9.5. I can't remember which now. And in one of his recent videos, you can go check it out on his channel, of doing his top 100 cards. I think it was in the second to last episode of 50 to 25 maybe. So great player. He's one of the reasons I started watching the Penguins back in the day in college. We're roughly the same age, so it was kind of like watching your generation play, and just one of the greatest players ever. And then the other one, so back in the back of the box, saw this vintage hockey card here, 71 tops. 3 legends, 3 Hall of Famers on there for $6. Gotta do it. TJ Mack, hope you're proud. Again, his hockey card collection is immaculate, just amazing. All his card collection is amazing. But he's really influenced me to start getting into some vintage, and this is my first vintage hockey card. So all these, including go to the LCS, the pickup cards in the card show, is about $50 for all those cards. Let's see. On to the SGC reveal. First one was a little interesting. I'm not overly happy with the grade. I'm not overly disappointed. It just kind of is what it is. With a modern card, I think SGC have had in a very, very small sample size, just some really varying grades. And so here is that Barry Larkin 2022 Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary Toil Cream Gold Refractor out of 50. They did a really nice job on the label there, and they assigned an 8.5. So there must be something I was missing looking at this card. Maybe some of the edges a little bit rough. There could be some dinging there that's really minute. Seems like it's a little bit tougher border than that Chrome Louis Tiant I sent in, Topps Chrome Louis Tiant that got a 10. But there it is, and that 8.5 reminds me of Sammy at SFI Sports Cards. That's Sammy grade. He's talked in the past video about he likes to look and find cards that are in that grade because it's usually a good price point. I mean, I guess if I were to let this one go, it would be as well, but I think I have an idea of what I'd like to do with this card, so see you later, Barry. Next one, these are all vintage now. I had found this in my LCS vintage box, baseball box, I think back in December. When I saw this, I instantly was like, yeah, I want to send this in. I'd already sent another 72 Topps Clemente in, but I just love this card. It's it's in my top 4. When I do the top 4, here you go. Probably in a couple episodes, I'm going to do Roberto Clemente Fab 4. This will be in there. Gave it a 6, and I am very happy with that grade. The centering just probably isn't quite there enough for a 7. It maybe just missed. 6.5, I don't think it really would have mattered, but I think this is a great grade for this card. I mean, it's very clean on the back. The back's pretty far off, which I think is pretty typical of this card from that year. But there you go, Roberto Clemente. Just the classic pose. Go back a couple years earlier in a set that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it is kind of growing on me. And I got to give Topps credit. They were really trying to do something new, to keep it classy, but also, you know, go out there a little bit. And although maybe the 71 and 72 are just a much more beloved and classic design amongst the community, this one is pretty good too. So here's the 70 Topps Tom Seaver. I'm not going to be able to get his rookie, probably. It's just way out of reach for me, price-wise, what I'm willing to pay. The 68's an awesome card. I have his 69. It's really badly diamond miscut. Really sharp corners, but it's really miscut. This is just nice, and this is a tough one to get centered. For some reason, this 1970 Topps number 300 of Tom Seaver is very tough to get centered. And the corners on this are really, I'm almost going to say close to throwing star. Sharpness, and it got the 7. Very happy with this collector grade. I have had this card in my collection for a very long time, probably about the time I really first started, and there was a card store near where I lived then, about 20 years ago, that I would frequent, and saw this in there one day for like, I think it was like, I talked him down to like 15 bucks maybe. Probably overpaid back in 2004, 2003, but don't care. A lot of the cards he had in there, the corners were just really super sharp. And again, that was what it was about back then. Corners mattered. I still think they matter to a degree. If the card is miscut, that's not the collector's fault. Now, if the collector selects it later and they accept that, that's fine. But coming out of the pack, that's not the purchaser's fault. But when a card gets damaged or being played with, or, you know, things we just didn't know better back then, that's on the owner. And this one was really well cared for. Here's the back. Back's pretty far off. So compared to the Clemente, I guess it was a little tighter. I'm kind of surprised that it got the 7, but I've had a few of these older cards I've had, and they all came from that same store, comeback 7s. And I'm the store is long gone. I live on the north side of the city that I live in now, and I was on the south side at that point 20 years ago, so. This is the PC card for me for Tom Seaver. I got 77 Topps of his too, and you know, I might pick up one of some of his other 70s ones, but this guy's a Met. I don't think, I mean, the 78 for the Reds, boy, I might pick that up, you know, I don't know, but to me, he's a Met. This is from 1969, when probably shot in 69, just before or after he won the World Series. He looks thrilled to death. But what a competitor, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Just without doubt. And this reminds me of Sammy Thunder and Mookie Chilson. So shout out to their 2 great channels. Again, thanks. I hope Mookie is not too upset that I cribbed his cue card there. Okay, one more. And then a bonus. If you've still stuck with me, I really appreciate you all. I've had a lot of recent increases in subscriptions, a lot of it due to shout outs from several channels. God is great shouted me out just recently. Sammy at SFI shouted me out, and I'm sure I'm missing some others that have shouted me out recently. Iconic, what is it? I can't remember the channel. Forgive me, sir. Just a super nice young man there with an amazing collection. Keeping it iconic. He shouted me out. I mean, I've just had an amazing run of just nice. And I think maybe Vintage on Vintage shouted me out too. I can't keep all of it track all the videos, but everyone has subscribed or just watched even and commented or gave a thumbs up. I really appreciate you all. And speaking of Vintage on Vintage, this reminds me of him. Oh, there's some dust on there. About a month ago, maybe it was around Christmas, I can't remember now. I think he's had in his collection for a little while. He pulled out a ungraded Ken Boyer rookie right here like this. And that just got my imagination going, just inspired me. I'm just inspired by this card, whether he makes the Hall of Fame or not, and I'm still a firm believer that he deserves to be in the Hall. It's just a beautiful card. I love the green background. Thanks Vintage on Vintage for showing that card, and I went out and it was my first purchase of the new year. And with this year of the rookie, sort of still is, I guess. I've picked up a few. This one is one that I will always cherish. I love the uniform on that. I've never been a Cardinals fan, but I mean, again, Picker Jim S says it the best. Said it the best in one of his videos. We root and appreciate the player, and not necessarily the laundry. But right here, I gotta admire the laundry. I mean, you gotta admit the Cardinals had some style. They have some style in those uniforms. Those birds sitting on the bat, that's just a great classic look. I love that he's bunting, or sort of like looking like he might be bunting or blocking somebody with the bat. And here it is with the 5. So collector grade score here. I am extremely happy with that. If it had been a 6, I don't think I've really been that much more excited than it being a 5. I've been a 4, I've been a little, well, but still, I'm very pleased with this. Here's the back. This card is just 2 numbers up from the first or second most famous rookie of that set, the Sandy Koufax. And then now one more card. This was a different pickup. This was a submittal. This was to have an autograph authenticated. And this is the first time I'd done this, and the store only offered through Beckett, and I would have rather it been through one of the other ones, but it would have been just extravagantly expensive for what it is. But in one of my very early videos, I showed a pickup of a player. It's very special to me because he's from my home state, and he's just a consummate gentleman. I had gotten his autograph in person and lost it. If you want to hear more of the story, go watch that video. But I found this 58 Topps autograph by Carl Erskine. I love 58 Topps, and since it's slabbed, you can tell it's authentic autograph. I'm not like a huge autograph collector. I do have a project I want to take on at some point where I'm going to be getting some junk wax era rookie cards of some of my favorite players from when I was a kid and in high school and stuff to get autographs somehow if I can, either through TTM or maybe in person. But this is one I always will cherish. That, the Ted Marchibroda auto I've got. I'm a kind of an eclectic auto collector, I guess, but I don't collect too many of these. But this will be in the set. So that's it. I appreciate you watching tonight. And with that, I'm going to saddle up, head off the highway, and I'll see you on the next one.